Raiders! Welcome to Raiders Fan Radio. This is your Uncle Mosh coming to you from the Dago Dungeon. Join us as Raider Nation takes a lighter side journey with the worldwide fans of the dark side.
Okay, we're back. Look left, look right. Bolitnikov, a leaking pass. Touchdown!
We miss you. We love you. And we'll see you in the Hall of Fame.
When you have great coaches, then after you have great coaches, you get great players. You have a great organization, and you tell them one thing: just win, baby.
Intercepted by Khalil Mack. Touchdown! Raiders!
The Oakland Raiders have scored on the most zany, unbelievable, absolutely impossible dream of a play. Well, I love this team. I think this team can win.
What is up, Raider Nation? Your old buddy Murf back here again for another fantastic episode of Raiders Fan Radio. That's right, episode number 83. Thank you for joining us here in the newly formed Murf's Fan Cave, which we will get to that here in just a second. But first and foremost, we always name our episodes after a player. And when it comes to episode number 83 and the number 83, man, it's Ted Hendricks. It kind of starts and stops there with me. As I've mentioned numerous times on the show, the Raiders of the 70s were kind of like superheroes to me. You know, as a kid, I was always into comic books and all that kind of stuff. But, superheroes didn't permeate our pop culture like the way that they do nowadays. And the Raiders of the 70s and the stories of those players were very much, those guys were very much my superheroes. And, Ted Hendricks was one of those guys standing at 6 feet 7 inches tall, 220 pounds. He had the nickname the Stork, or even the Mad Stork, when he was in college. And, you hear a name like that, the Mad Stork, or even Snake, or Assassin, or Dr. Death, or, Foo, all the great Raiders nicknames and all these guys that, like I said, that were like heroes. The Mad Stork was one of them, one of the biggest, literally. And so Ted Hendricks, man, just an awesome player, an awesome linebacker, a violent player, guy that just really brought it each and every play. Won 4 Super Bowls. For those of you that don't know, he played for the Colts originally from 69 to 73 and won a Super Bowl with the Baltimore Colts. Don Shula is the head coach. And then played for the Packers for a year in 74 before eventually moving on to play for the Oakland/Los Angeles Raiders, where he picks up 3 Super Bowls, playing with them from 1975 until 1983. So Ted Hendricks, 8 times in the Pro Bowl, 4 times a first-team All-Pro, and part of the NFL's 75th anniversary team, and of course the All-Decade team from the 70s and the 80s. So Ted Hendricks, the Mad Stork, glad to celebrate him here as number 83 on Raiders Fan Radio. So before we get to Uncle Mosh, just real quick, so a couple of things have happened to us this week. A little bit of show housekeeping, if you will. I mentioned the newly formed Fan Cave. A couple things there around there. So it's Murf's Fan Cave. Murf's Fan Cave, as you look into your feed now, where Raiders Fan Radio used to be, you're going to see Murf's Fan Cave. This show will not change. This show will be Raiders Fan Radio, is Raiders Fan Radio, and will be forever. The reason that it's switching over to Murf's Man Cave is that's going to be kind of like the umbrella of which Raiders Fan Radio will live. Raiders Fan Radio, along with a lot of other podcasts, might show up on your feed. Now, I say a lot of other, probably only going to be 1 or 2 to start off with, but eventually we're looking to grow this thing into more of a network. And frankly, the way that the NFL is nowadays and the way they are bringing litigation and bringing threats and really, I say use this word loosely, requests for rebranding. It was a good idea for us, being that we have Raiders Fan Radio in our title and Raiders Fan Radio in a lot of our printed media, that we go ahead and try to get away from that name a little bit, at least in those terms. I'm still going to call the show Raiders Fan Radio. It's still going to be Raiders Fan Radio. But some good friends of ours have kind of run into some challenges with the NFL, and it's never happened to us. But as a preemptive strike as our show gains more popularity. Thankfully to those of you that listen, we're going to be at more risk of it. So better to do it now than to do it later. And again, will kind of allow us to branch out a little bit and do bigger shows, more shows, but with still Raiders Fan Radio being the focus and with no changes upcoming to it. So those of you that have kind of stuck with us from the beginning, you know what to expect. It's what you're going to get. Nothing will change as far as that goes. We're still going to have great interviews coming forward. You're still going to see Sonny, still hear from him. Probably not as much, being that he's got a lot of life going on, but definitely still Uncle Mosh and draft coverage and all the great things that we've talked about. You're going to expect to see lots more of that. So with that said, let's go ahead and go over to Uncle Mosh and listen to him tell you how you can get in touch with us.
Hey, boys and girls, this is Uncle Mosh. That's right. Somebody actually claims Sonny and Murf. These two. Check them out on their website, RaidersFanRadio.com. You can friend them on Facebook at Raiders Fan Radio, or you can like their fan page at Raiders Fan Radio Podcast. Hey, I don't tweet. I don't even know how to use a Twitter, but they do. You can tweet them at Raiders Fan Radio. Call them. Leave a voicemail if you want. Go old school. 909-345-3346. That's 909-345-3346. Hey, do this. Please subscribe and rate Raiders Fan Radio on iTunes. You can listen to the show on all podcast services like Stitcher, TuneIn, Podcast Addict, and many, many more. Okay, am I done? Did I say all the stuff I was supposed to say? All right, I'm out of here.
All right, thank you, Uncle Mosh. We appreciate that as always. And there's also there's a Murf's Fan Cave Facebook page out there, and even a Twitter profile. I'm probably not going to do a ton with it, but just don't want to secure those things as you do when you go through a rebranding. So if you're into it, you can certainly find those out there. All right, so just a couple things to get to this week. I know we have a lot of OTAs to talk about, and in fact, we have a really cool interview, probably, I'm hoping, fingers crossed, coming next week, that will have a direct link to OTAs. Not going to get into a bunch of that this week because I wanted to wait until we got Sonny or Uncle Mosh in here before we go over that, not only to cover the news, but also we got a lot of good voicemails, and I want to get to the Sea of Fans with one of those guys. So for this week, look, it's Father's Day weekend, and so just I have a fun little interview this week, and then we'll get a return to excellence played for you as well. So as far as the interview goes, pardon my self-indulgence, but I asked my boys, both Tristan and Vincent, to step into the fan cave, and we had a pretty fun time talking about some Raiders football. Kind of a fun little perspective from them. They're a couple of good young men who don't live anywhere near Oakland, but are growing up Raider fans, and the only time they've ever seen the Raiders has been on the road. So a fun little perspective from them, and appreciate them holding it down and representing Raider Nation to the fullest in what they do. So I had a good time talking to them, and hope you get a kick out of it as well. Pardon the nepotism for the show. But as far as return to excellence goes, I'm going to tag the end of this episode with one of those for sure. This week we're going to get to the Seahawks route. And if you're a metal guy like I am, you will not be disappointed, because they freaking play Pantera Cowboys from Hell in the intro with Greg Papa's voice coming in. It's awesome just for that alone. So pretty cool stuff from the year 2000. Again, overwhelmingly, frankly, at this point, positive response to those things. I'll keep posting them up as we go through them on our YouTube channel, and I'm glad you guys are liking them so much. We get a lot of good feedback from those each time one goes up. Also this week, I did a couple of podcasts earlier this week, one with our buddy Kevin the Raider Nerd. Did his show The End Zone with him and his co-host Kyle, so check them out. They're the Fandom Podcast Network, and I'll have links to that show once it goes up. We're actually looking to get Kevin in here on an episode of Raiders Fan Radio within the next week or so, and also did his hair metal podcast. So if you're into rock and roll of the 80s and the hair metal scene, man, we had a lot of fun talking about the band Cinderella, Tesla, and Poison. So and again, same thing, I'll have links for you for that once that goes up. So definitely support those guys over at the Phantom Podcast Network. They do a great job. There's a whole plethora of shows. They do like 8 shows over there. It's great. So every facet of fandom that you can think of, those guys cover it. So they're definitely good friends of ours, and we're proud to be affiliated with them and to trade guest appearances with them. It's been a lot of fun hanging out with those guys. So anyways, without further ado, let's go ahead and get to the interview this week, and then we'll tag it with the return to excellence, and then we'll be back full speed next week with either Uncle Mosh or Sonny, or who knows, maybe even both, and then definitely some fantastic. I don't want to give it away. We got some good interviews coming to go along with probably Kevin the Raider Nerd for next week. So anyways, thank you, Raider Nation. You guys rock, and we will talk to you next week here on Raiders Fan Radio. All right, Raider Nation, it's Father's Day, and here in Murf's Fan Cave, I'd like to welcome in 2 special guests. So we'll do them in chronological order, so there's no favoritism being played here. First off, welcome my oldest son, my 15-year-old. I'm going to choke, my voice is cracking. You're the 15-year-old, but your voice wasn't supposed to have your voice crack. Like to welcome into the show 15-year-old Tristan. Tristan, welcome to Raiders Fan Radio.
Thank you. How are you doing today?
I'm doing great, buddy. Thank you for joining me here on the show.
Of course. Happy Father's Day.
Thanks, man. Appreciate that.
You like your Infinity Gauntlet mug I got you?
I do like the Infinity Gauntlet. I should have brought it up here with me. I could have been sipping coffee or non-alcoholic beer out of it while I was doing the show. So thank you very much for the Infinity Gauntlet mug. I absolutely loved it. All right, so there's my oldest son, Tristan. Next up, we have youngest son, Vinny. Right? His name is Vincent. We call him Vinny or Vin or Vanuch or Vanuch LaRouche. We got a million nicknames for this guy. Welcome to the show, Vincent.
Hey, what's up, Murf? How you doing today?
I don't know if I like you calling me Murf. It's Dad, man.
All right. Hey, Dad, what's up? How you doing today?
I'm doing great, buddy. Thank you for joining me here on the show. Thanks for hopping into the man cave.
Thanks for having me.
So out of everybody that's ever like in the man cave, or I call it the man cave, the fan cave, if anybody that's ever in the fan cave, aside from me, you guys spend probably as more time than anyone after me, right? In the fan cave?
Yeah, heck yeah.
I've spent more nights in here than I have in my own room.
So tell us about that.
We come in here, watch movies, eat popcorn, get fat, and go to sleep.
There you go. What about watching football? We ever watch football in here?
Oh, yeah. Our Super Bowl parties are the best.
Super Bowl parties. There you go.
One time we actually had a Cheez-It and we sprayed cheese spray onto it, and we ate it like that.
The cheese was Cheez-It.
That's your favorite part of the Super Bowl party, was spraying cheese on a Cheez-It?
Yeah.
All right. Now this is so thank you boys both for being here. Now this is Raiders Fan Radio. So you are talking to literally thousands of members of Raider Nation, and they're all diehard Raider fans. So as much as they love Cheez-Its, I'm sure they're going to want to hear us talk about the Raiders as well. And since it's Father's Day, we're going to be self-indulgent, and we're gonna go ahead and talk about the Raiders with my boys, the 2 that I'm a father to. And hopefully, after this is all said and done, we will find that I'm doing a responsible job as a bleeding member of Raider Nation, that I've passed on the legacy to my 2 boys. That sound fair?
That sounds fair.
Yeah.
All right, Tristan, let's start with you first.
All right.
Who's your favorite football team?
The Raiders.
The Raiders, thank you. Appreciate
Obviously.
that. All right, good. Why are the Raiders your favorite football team?
Because you like them, and I got no one else to like. What the crap?
So that's it? Just because your dad's a Raider fan, so you're a Raider fan?
I see such passion in the football program there. You know, it's one of the only fan bases where people are always fans no matter what they go through, you know?
I love that answer. That's a great answer. So really, from what you're saying, is that it's almost being a member of Raider Nation is almost bigger than rooting for the team themselves.
It's almost like joining a family.
There you go. I love that. How about you, Vanuch? Who's your favorite football team?
Well, I don't know. The Raiders, obviously.
Okay, good. Otherwise, you were grounded.
The reason why I like them so much is I'm just so inspired by you, and you're just so into them that I kind of want to be a part of that. I kind of want to be as into them as you.
Yeah?
Yeah.
That's cool. You know what? And it's funny because I think that's kind of what it was like for me too. You're 12, right? And like when I was 12, and think back to my Uncle Murf and Uncle Bruz and my dad, like they were so into it. Like that was just such a big deal to them that like it made me want to be part of it as well. All right, well good. So Tristan, let's actually we'll start with Vinny. We'll reverse the order here. There you go. All right, so Vinny, who's your favorite player?
Well, for a while it was actually John Madden until I figured out that he was actually a coach.
No,
That was a while ago.
no, when you were like little, right?
Yeah,
You were little?
yeah,
Okay,
little.
all right. So, and was that because of the game? Is that why?
Yeah.
Okay, all right. Now after John Madden, who would it be?
Now it'd be Derek Carr for sure.
Derek Carr for sure. Derek
Yeah.
Carr's awesome, isn't he?
He is.
Yeah, good guy, great football player. Like, what else you like about him?
Well, he's just kind of inspiring because he's into God and he's not afraid to share about that.
Yeah, right?
Yeah, and he's also a phenomenal football player.
He's fun to watch and he's easy to root for, right? Because like morally he's a good dude and stuff, right?
Yeah.
Kind of a cool thing, right? Now you mentioned Madden. Let's talk about that. You like to play Madden.
Yeah.
Yeah, right. Now for a while, son, and this is a little bit of intervention here. You like to use the Giants.
Yes, I did, and it was solely on the purpose because my favorite baseball team is the Giants, and I just thought that why not like them? Their name is the Giants, and then that put Raiders in my second favorite team, and
Those are dark years, buddy.
they were.
All right,
And
go ahead.
soon after that, I finally saw the light, and I turned to the Raiders.
There you go.
Well,
Attaboy.
you saw the darkness, buddy.
Oh, good boy.
All right. So now you use the Raiders when you play Madden.
Yeah,
There you go.
always.
All right. So Tristan, how about you? So your favorite team is the Raiders. Who is your favorite player?
I gotta go with Derek Carr as well.
Yeah?
He's just such a good guy, you know.
Yeah, easy to root for, right? Same reasons like we talked about Vinny.
Yeah, just a really likable guy, you know.
How about if you had to pick someone else? Who would it be?
If I had to pick anyone else, Howie Long. I
Howie
guess.
Long. So you're going back a little bit for your favorite
Go
player.
back a little bit.
He was, and why? Just because of how good he was, or you never got a chance to see him play other than probably highlights, though, right? Well, obviously you did because
Yeah.
the guy's been retired for much longer than you've been alive. So
Yeah.
So just watching highlights and
Just
stuff.
watching highlights on YouTube and stuff like that.
Yeah, he's pretty good. He's pretty dominant back in the day, wasn't he? They
yeah.
say about Howie Long that he had the quickest get off of anybody. I mean, so when they were on the ball, like when that ball was snapped, like he was just boom, he was in the offensive lineman's face quicker than anybody, and that's what made him so good. We had a guy that played next to Howie Long. His name is Pete Koch. He joined us on the show, a former player, and that was what he said, that Howie was just so explosive off the ball there was nobody that could match him. Now, both you boys have grown up in Tennessee, where we live now. Both of you have been to the Oakland Coliseum, right?
Yeah.
All right, and who did we see there when we went to the Coliseum?
Saw
the
the A's.
Right, went and saw the A's, but you guys have never seen the Raiders, but you've been to the Coliseum, right?
We've
Yeah.
seen the Raiders here at Nissan Stadium.
But we've seen the Raiders here. That's right. Okay, so being fans of the team, but not being where the team is from, how has that been for you growing up? Because you guys wear Raider hats and you wear Raider shirts and you wear Raider stuff. What is that like, Vinny, when you go to school and you're wearing Raider gear?
Well, it is kind of hard because everyone is, like comes up to you and says, "Oh, you're friends of the Raiders? Your team sucks." And I'm just like, "Thank you."
Not a
And-
lie.
Yeah, and I always say, you're a true fan of the team when even though they suck, you still like them.
Absolutely. That's a great point, Vinny. How about you, Tristan? How's it been for you growing up as a Raider fan?
Well, especially in elementary and middle school, you get a bunch of crap all the time because people have no knowledge. But once you get into high school, people actually have a higher appreciation for football. It's really cool to meet people like that.
Right on. That's cool. That's awesome, man. So you're starting to actually, people starting to lighten up a little bit on you, huh?
Oh, yeah.
And it's
Meeting
fun.
fellow Raiders fans in Tennessee, it's just something different. It's really cool.
Right on. So now, what's funny is that, and as the team gets better, which hopefully this year they will, as the team gets better, you'll find that they call them bandwagon fans, right? Like you'll get people that'll they'll want to be Raider fans because the Raiders are good. Like how many, Tristan, we'll start with you. You just finished your freshman year. How many people at your school wore Steph Curry jerseys or shirts?
All of them.
Vinny, how about you? How many in the 7th or 6th grade? How many people wore Steph Curry shirts and jerseys?
Well, actually, not a lot. Not a lot of people. It was mostly in 4th and 5th grade when everyone was rooting for them. But in 6th grade, actually, not a lot of people.
But you saw them around your school.
Oh yeah.
So and there was a lot more Warrior stuff than you probably have ever seen anybody wear anything Raiders, right?
Oh,
Yeah.
of course.
Right.
Yeah.
So they're fans because the team
Is
It's
good.
good.
is good, right?
Because
So
they're bandwagoners.
exactly. So as you see, and which is a completely crazy concept, by the way, because you guys have only known the Warriors as ever being good. they were the laughing stock of basketball and probably all of sports for a very, very long time. We were absolutely terrible.
We talked about that in the car the other day.
Yeah, right, about how bad the Warriors used to be. I mean, one of our players choked our coach.
Really?
Yeah, yeah. So, anyways, so that's what you guys are going to see as you continue to get older. They'll be a little bit more accepted with that, and then hopefully the Raiders will definitely be good enough to start warranting some others, and you guys will be like, on the front end of all that. You know what I mean? That'll be kind of cool. So, are most of the people at your schools are Titans fans, right? Or if they root for pro football, are they Titans fans?
Yes, for the most part, yeah.
No, actually. The reason why is because right now the Titans aren't doing good, actually. And they don't like the Patriots because they're so annoyed by them being good. So it's kind of a mix of a bunch of things. It's not really more of a team than others. It's really just a bunch of...
Just a bunch of different teams?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And what about, and then college football is probably the biggest thing that you guys see, right?
Yeah.
And hurtfully enough, Bam is always going to be number one.
Ugh, man. Well, there you go, because they're good, right?
Yeah.
So because they're good, we see more Alabama stuff around
They're
here.
never bad. It sucks being a UT fan,
So UT, University of Tennessee, right? You love UT. We sport UT, right?
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely, and yeah, so it's tough because they're clearly not as good as the Crimson Tide. But that's where Kenny Stabler went to school, was Alabama. So we got to root for him at least a little bit, right?
No.
Yeah.
Says the true Tennessean boys. You guys are from Tennessee. I'm not. So you guys are deeper rooted in this thing than I am. So the Raiders are in Oakland. You guys have been to the Oakland Coliseum. Vinny, start with you. What did you think of the Oakland Coliseum?
I think that it was different that they combined a baseball field with a football field, and that I just thought that was really cool how they combined it, and it was pretty run down, I guess you could say. And I'm not glad that they're leaving Oakland, but I'm glad that they're switching stadiums.
You're glad they're switching stadiums because they're going to get that nice, big, beautiful, shiny stadium in Vegas, right?
But in my opinion, I don't honestly like the idea of them moving out of Oakland.
You don't? You want them to stay in Vegas, or you want them to stay in Oakland, not go to Vegas?
Yeah.
You think why?
Well, it's just for the 12 years that I've been alive, I've always known them as the Oakland Raiders, and I just don't like the idea of them being something different.
Yeah, okay, that makes sense. Now, and you mentioned earlier that you're a Giants fan.
I was.
So tell me the difference between going to the Coliseum and then going to AT&T Park where the Giants play. What kind of difference was that?
Well, I don't know. I enjoyed being at the Oakland Coliseum, I think.
I want you to be honest. Tell me, yeah. Look, the Coliseum's a dump, Vinny.
Yeah.
What'd you think of AT&T
What
Park?
did you think of AT&T Park? What was the difference, man?
Where you had the giant view of the ocean and the boats and the
AT&T
ferries
Park
and
was way better.
the guys with hot chocolate vats on their back. Come on, man. This is an easy question. There is a right or wrong answer to
All
this.
right. The Oakland Coliseum is a dump. AT&T Park is awesome.
Okay, there you go. It's all right. It's the way it is. But here's the thing, is that it's our dump, right? So us as A's and Raider fans, it's our dump, and that's why we, plus Papa Bruce, right, my dad, my favorite thing to do with him when I was a kid was go to A's games. So I have, amazingly fond memories of going to baseball games as a kid, and they were all, for the most part, at the Oakland Coliseum. So even though it's kind of a dump, it's our dump. It's homey to me, right?
Oh, it's still home.
Yeah, it's still home. So how about you? Now, Tristan, you're an A's fan. So you boys are different. You got one A's fan and one a Giants fan. Tristan, you're the A's fan. So what did you think about going to the Coliseum? So you love the A's and the Raiders. What did you think about finally getting there to go to Oakland?
I actually really enjoyed it. It was a lot of fun getting to see where your team played just for the first time,
Yeah.
It was really cool, and just seeing Sonny Gray and all those people,
Yeah,
I actually got to meet Sonny Gray about a year before that. Got his signature and everything. Sat down next to me and Dad. We talked for about 10 minutes.
You got to see his
and then get to see him play live. It was just amazing.
That was pretty cool. Sonny Gray is from right down the road where we live, right?
From Smyrna, yeah.
Yeah, and so that was cool. We went to an event. We got to sit down, and he was very gracious with his time. We were wearing our A's stuff, and so Sonny Gray came over and approached us and sat down with us, man, at our table and hung out for a while and asked you all about playing baseball, and that was pretty neat. So, and we got to see Coco Crisp hit a home run. Right, I think the A's lost that game, but we got to see Coco hit a home run into right field. That was pretty neat. Yeah, so what do you think about the Raiders moving, Tristan? What do you think about them moving from Oakland to Las Vegas?
I can't stand it.
Yeah?
That sucks.
Yeah?
You know, I don't know how big the fan base of the Raiders is in Las Vegas, but I know it's a lot bigger than Oakland than anywhere.
So you think that's why? Because most of the fans are in Oakland, so that's why they should stay?
The passion is stronger in Oakland than Vegas.
Well, I agree with you about that. There's probably some passionate fans in Vegas, but I'll be willing to bet that there's not as many as there is in Oakland.
They're doing it just for the money. Of course, that's all the NFL is, though.
That's
You're
all
a smart kid.
That's all anything is. It's all about money.
Everything's money.
That's right. You're a smart kid. Both of you boys. That's right. It always comes down to money. All right, so what do you think about your dad and your uncle and your cousin? And what do you think about all of us doing this Raider podcast thing, Tristan?
I love it. It was a creative idea. It's taken some time. It started pretty bad, but it got good.
Yeah, you've had like 100 different radio shows before this one.
I did. That's
It's all
right.
trial and error. It's all trial and error.
Look, you have a West 360 sticker right there.
That's right. That's exactly. And what was West 360?
Well, actually, I forgot. It was a while ago.
It was a lot of different things.
Yeah.
It was about Madden. It was about John Madden football. We used to do a Madden podcast, and I think we might even start doing some other Madden podcasting coming up. But
that was with Uncle Alan, right? That one?
Yes, Sonny and Uncle Alan. That's exactly right. And who's Uncle Alan's team?
The 49ers.
What do you guys think about that?
Horrible. Just disgusting.
Yeah, it went from West 360 to West 1 Radio, just like the Xboxes did.
Yeah, that's why we changed the name.
Yeah.
Yeah. So what do you think about your uncle being a Niner fan, Tristan?
Ooh, it's bad.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Just because I like someone from San Francisco, I like a baseball team from San Francisco, that doesn't give me the right to like the 49ers.
No, you better not like the Niners, because then you'd have to move out, and at 12, that's going to be tough on you. All right, boys. How about this year? What do you think? Let's go with you, Vinny. What do you think the Raiders are going to do? How are they going to be this year?
I have some hopes, but I'm not getting them too high. I don't want to be disappointed like last season.
Do you think the Raiders are going to make the playoffs?
I think they will, but I think they might get close, but I don't think they're going to make it into the Super Bowl, honestly, this season. Maybe next season.
Maybe next season, okay? So maybe, and we got one more year in Oakland for sure, and then a second possible year. So maybe they get that Super Bowl before they leave Oakland, or maybe it's our first year in Vegas. They get that Super Bowl. Tristan, what do you think? How do you think the Raiders are going to be this year?
I think they're going to be good considering they made the playoffs 2 years ago. You know, I think they got a good shot at making it this year and maybe even to the AFC Championship.
Well, Derek Carr got hurt, right? And that's because he got hurt. You guys remember we were at church on Christmas Eve, and when we came home, and do you remember?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I remember.
You remember that?
That was insane.
That was insane. We saw that Derek Carr got hurt. Same time Marcus Mariota got hurt.
Yeah, and it was like in the same place almost.
It was the same place on his foot, huh?
Yeah.
Or his ankle, anyways. Yeah, you got that break.
Coincidence? I think not.
So then, for this year, Tristan, so you think with a healthy Derek Carr, because last year they were healthy, but they had all kinds of other issues that happened, right?
Oh, yeah.
So you think this year with a healthy Derek Carr, do you guys? Okay, how about this? I got one for you. Do you guys know who John Gruden is?
Heard the name.
Same.
All right.
Heard the name.
Do you know him as a coach or as the guy that was the announcer on Monday Night Football?
The guy that's the
Monday
announcer on
Night
Monday Night Football.
Before this year, because we didn't really talk about Gruden a lot. Not like I talked to you guys about Al Davis or John Madden or whatever. Did you know John Gruden was our coach?
No.
I did, yeah. Early 2000s, right?
Yeah, that's exactly right. Yeah. Yeah, around the time you were born.
As soon as I was born, they sucked.
Yeah, they did. That's exactly right. So Mom and I met, and we went to a Raider game in 2002, which is the year that they went to the Super Bowl, right? And things were great, and the Raiders were the best. And then you were born a year later, and then as soon as you were born, then they went into the tank.
Yep.
Tristan,
So,
you're
thanks,
a
Tristan.
curse. Thanks a lot, Tristan.
Called me a curse.
Well, hopefully, they were good 2 years ago, right? And you were plenty of alive then, so hopefully that it's not all your fault.
Maybe not.
No, maybe not. So I think they got a chance. I think the Raiders have a real good chance of coming back this year. So we always ask our guests to leave a message for Raider Nation. So Vinny, give us a message for Raider Nation before we let you go.
My message is to stay with the Raiders, win, lose, or tie, Raiders till I die.
Attaboy. Well done. All right, Tristan, how about you? How about a message for Raider Nation?
Well, when the Raiders get good this year, we're going to pick up a lot of bandwagons, and I'm going to just say to y'all, future bandwagons, you have no idea what you're getting yourself into.
There you go. Hey, no bandwagons listening to this show, though, pal. So this is the diehards you're talking to. So
Top 1,000 fans.
What?
Top 1,000 Raider fans.
There's more than 1,000. We got like 3,000 people listen to the show.
You're up to 3 now?
Yeah.
You didn't tell me that.
Yeah, man.
Congratulations, you top 3,000 Raider fans. Tell your friends about it.
There you go.
And their mom.
So that's your message to Raider Nation? Tell their moms about Raiders Fan Radio?
Yeah. Do it.
Let's get to 4,000.
All right, here we go. All right, fair enough. All right, boys. Well, thank you for joining us here on the show. It was a pleasure to having you both. Thank you for being good Raider fans. Thank you for being good sports about it, growing up as Raider fans outside of Oakland, outside of California. I mean, because we know California, man, all over the state is full of Raider fans.
On the other side of America.
That's right. That's right. You're holding it down in the South.
Oh, yeah.
So
Yeah.
absolutely. So keep holding it down for Raider Nation. Proud of you both. I love you both. And thanks for coming on the show.
No problem.
All right. Thank you.
All right.
Thank you.
Let's try this. See if we can beat this guy up over here on a slant. Now, don't rush it. If he cuts you off, fly his ass.
When the Seahawks came to Oakland on October the 22nd, it marked the second in a brutal stretch of 5 consecutive division games for the Raiders. A stretch that would make or break the Raiders' season, and they needed to get off to a hot start. Unfortunately for the Raiders, it was Ricky Waters and the Seahawks who would get on the board first, getting a field goal and a 3-0 lead. Then Eric Allen intercepted a Brock Heward pass on the Seattle 21, which set up a Rich Gannon to Tim Brown TD pass.
3 receivers in, 1 back. Gannon down the middle. It is caught by Tim Brown. Touchdown, Raiders. On the seam route, he beats Willie Williams. Beautifully thrown by Gannon. And the Raiders on the 16-yard strike to Brown have a 6-3 lead.
The Gannon to Brown combination worked so well, the Raiders decided to go back to it again, which kick-started the offense into high gear as they simply pulled away from Seattle.
Gannon going to drop back to pass. Looks left, pump fakes, now throws middle. Tim Brown, touchdown right down the middle again. Boy, they made that look easy. Tim Brown on a tremendously simple route down the middle, Tom, but the Raiders able to look at left and go back to Brown, and Timmy has his second touchdown reception of the game.
With the Raiders leading 14-3, Tyrone Wheatley went off.
Richie off left tackle, 30, 40, Wheatley to midfield, Wheatley to the 40, Wheatley to the 30, Wheatley is pulled but not down, 10-5, Wheatley, touchdown! Sean Springs almost ran him down, but Wheatley able to break the tackle. And he takes it to the crossbar and then spikes it off the crossbar following an 80-yard run by Tyrone Wheatley for a touchdown.
Then Gannon hit James Jett to make it 28-7 Raiders.
Gannon going to roll out right, slings one, caught by Jett, 10-5. James Jett goes into the end zone. Touchdown, Raiders. As he takes it in with pride, strutting into the south end zone. He beat Jay Bellamy on the play for James Jett. A 24-yard catch, his first reception of the day. He is the 9th different receiver that Rich Gannon has utilized today.
It was an offensive explosion the Seahawks could not withstand as the Raiders moved to 6-1 on the year with a 31-3 rout. Now the Raiders were 2-0 on their all-important 5-game stretch against the AFC West.
Bring the funk, baby, bring the funk! Woo!